Hey, how's the weather over there? My name's Liberty and welcome to my channel, where we talk about all things art, occult, spirituality, and witchcraft, and also the wonders of being an illustrative freelancer. I would highly recommend watching this video and all of my other videos at 1.5 or 2 times the speed, depending on how fast your brain can go. My brain goes really fast, and so I speak really slow. Today we're talking about how to be more creative. Creativity is the ability to connect two things that are seemingly unlike. People with ADHD and autism, or if you have both, ADHD, are famously creative due to a system of thought called spiderweb thinking. This is where things are cross-connected in a neurodivergent brain where it wouldn't normally be connected in a neurotypical brain. Specifically for neurodivergent people, well, actually, neurotypical people too, in a good, safe environment, the overlapping connections will be good, happy, and will promote a sense of fun. In unsafe or depressing environments, these hyper-connected brains can be super duper creative in self-destruction. But don't worry, whatever kind of brain that you have or whatever kind of environment that you've been in up until now, your brain is always growing. So new pathways can be formed and old pathways can die off. Neurons that fire together, wire together, as they say. If you just watched my last video that I posted about why I create what I create and what kinds of messages I'm trying to send with my art, you'll know that people who are bitter or in a stuck kind of rut way of thinking is I'm very familiar with a lot of people like that. I'm also very familiar with depression, people with depression, and the different ways that you can soothe depression, including medications. This is extremely related to this because having a stiff perception of reality is actually a physical thing. These connections are just thoughts and beliefs that you've practiced for a long time. By practicing the opposite, you'll get the opposite, which is more creativity. If you weren't born with the superpower of hyper-connected brain synapses, that's totally okay. Or even if you were born with the ability to have a super-connected brain and it just hasn't worked out for you because it was connected in all of the depressing ways, there's lots of stuff that you can do to loosen that up. And if you'll notice, a lot of the things that I'm about to talk about are also proven to improve depression, and it's because of the same neurogenesis-inducing effects. Something that really helps is loosening your grip on reality. As someone with a history of psychotic breaks and psychotic episodes, I would leave that for the higher-level magicians to do, but the other things work in very similar ways. If you're physically able, any kind of exercise, daily, weekly, really just doing it. I mean, just having a plan to set out to do it regularly. It doesn't have to be difficult. It can just be walking. And honestly, seriously, start small. Exercise puts your body through just enough little stress that it triggers novelty in the brain. When novelty is triggered, or if your brain senses that something is new, it releases the designers and construction workers of your brain to forge new pathways and connect new connections. If you're not physically able, but you can understand my voice, that means you have the ability to do the next exercise. Carl Jung's active imagination. I'm not going to go too deep into it because there's a lot of information online about it. Actually, there's not too much information about it, but maybe I'll do a video on that later. But Jungian active imagination is a way to sink into your subconscious mind and interact with it and speak to it consciously. It's not dreaming, it's right before dreaming. And a lot of really weird, really interesting things can happen when you're in your subconscious mind or the waiting room of your subconscious mind. As for something that you can take or ingest, lion's mane mushrooms are legal, non-psychoactive, and they give you the benefits of magic mushrooms without making you trip. You literally don't feel any different It just, over time, increases your ability to build new connections in your mind. This, however, stops when you stop taking it. There's another practice called neurographic drawing. I really like to do these when I'm looking for inspiration. There's a colored one right there, and another one in charcoal. The charcoal I really like because it gets so dark. But yeah, neurographic drawing, it's really good for making connections in your brain. That's actually a really good practice if you have something specific on your mind or some kind of emotion that needs to be processed and you don't know what to do with your hands, or you feel like you're thinking too much, something like that. It's a good meditative practice. I'll probably do a tutorial on how to do that in the future. And back to something that's connected to the Jungian active imagination. When you're in active imagination, you might you might encounter parts of yourself that you are not entirely, totally proud of. Maybe some things that you're ashamed of. And that's totally okay, and that's totally normal. Getting comfortable with the parts of yourself that you're ashamed of will really help loosen up the ruts in your mind so that you can make new connections. Because that shame, that like sluggish emotion is quite literally blocking new connections in that area of your mind. It's probably being protected from new connections because you're ashamed of it. And Carl Jung would call that part that you don't want to look at as your shadow. And it's really hard to make new connections and to be creative when you're worried about being weird, or you're worried about feeling ashamed, or what other people will think of you. And active imagination and also dreams are a really good place to have that privacy, to be your true authentic self, your full self, without fear of judgment from other people. You can increase your creativity without sharing it. Your creativity is for you to experience. If you wish to share that with other people, that's a bonus for them. Your creativity and your life is for you. In my opinion, increasing your creativity is just increasing your ability to live your life to the fullest. When I was growing up, my family was pretty poor, and so the art supplies that we had in our house, I was aware that they cost money. And even this awareness kept me from fully experimenting with all of the art supplies. I say this to say there might be little things that you might not readily see that prevent you from being just that little bit more creative. Could be a fear of performance, fear of being judged, anxiety. I'm sure I'm making everyone feel better by listing these things. But in being creative, just know that there are no wrong answers, there's no mistakes, and all of it is just an experiment. The act of being creative is in itself the reward. To sort of quote Alan Watts, life is like dancing. There's not one point on the dance floor that you need to end up at. You dance because you want to dance. It's the journey. If you're interested in growing with me, subscribe to my channel, demolish the like button, and comment down below to let me know what kinds of things has helped your creativity. Thank you for spending your time with me, and I look forward to seeing you next time.